Let me recognize Senator Manchin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all of you for your service and for being here today to testify. I first want to say to General Milley, I want to take a moment to thank you for your 43 years of service, the commitment to our country, and the dedication and sacrifice your family has made for that with you able to serve. And I look forward to you having enjoyment in retirement and your second career. I know whatever it'll be something special, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. Secretary Austin, multiple sources, including retired general officers and National Defense Industrial Association, American Enterprise Institute, and your colleague, Mr. McCord, have all recognized the damage failing to pass a budget on time has both in our national security and the taxpayers. What I'm trying to get to, and Mr. McCord, no one knows better than you how damaging delays in CRs have they been. Previously, you noted that from fiscal year 91 to 2010, the average delay for defense appropriation was 29 days. That was between 1991 and 2010. And that has since ballooned out to 118 days. Also, we're talking about the American Enterprise Institute. They threw out a rough estimate of $200 million per day, $200 million per day, under the latest continuing resolution that covered the start of fiscal year 2023. That has a total of $18 billion. So I guess what I'm asking is both of yours and Mr. McCord's commitment to get Congress, all of you, to do accurate. I mean, I know you come in here and you preach to high heavens, and we seem to not take it seriously at all. We're talking real dollars now, real dollars. And they think that basically the budget keeps ballooning out of sight, and we have no oversight whatsoever. If we, as Congress, just did our job on time, we're told that overall you could save anywhere between 5 to 10% of the request you have. That's $40 to $80 billion a year. Is that an accurate statement?
I think so. I defer to Secretary McCord for exact figures.
We'll let him respond also.
But you're absolutely right, Senator. And you heard me say in my opening statement that the best way that Congress can help us in this year going forward is to try to get an on-time appropriation done. Without that, we can't do new starts, we can't do a number of things, and you can't get that time back. It's gone, and so that puts us further behind in terms of our competition with adversaries like China.
Mr. Secretary McCord.
Yeah, I would concur. Your figures are accurate, Senator. And as the Secretary said, we can't buy back time with money, and that goes on the readiness side if a missed training rotation due to shortage of funds. But it's especially harmful on the contracting side when we've got areas like the Triad where we're trying to move the bomber into low-rate production. That we can't take those next steps under CRs, as you know, and that's the biggest lost opportunity. I think comes in moving forward where we're constrained legally.
So basically, we have non-productive money that we are appropriating that's used basically to make up for the inefficiencies of Congress because of our budget process. Without you having to say anything or confirm that, that's what I'm taking away from this little conversation that we've had. And I'm doing everything I can to make sure we do our job on time. By April 1st by law, House and the Senate are supposed to have a budget. By April 15th by law, we're supposed to have one reconciled. By September 30th by law, we're supposed to pass. That would change the course of what we're doing, how we're spending right now tremendously, rather than cutting anything, just being efficient. So I would hope that we would all take that seriously. General Milley, as you know, since the beginning of Putin's illegal war in Ukraine, the United States has provided over $76 billion in justified funding to support Ukraine in both the military defense of their people and freedom, but also in humanitarian and infrastructure support. Can you speak to your confidence in the U.S. NATO Ukrainian weapons accountability and possibly elaborate on the Joint Strategic Oversight Plan that was announced by this year by the Inspector Generals of the DOD, State Department, and USAID. Yeah, they all.
As you know, Senator, we do not have any uniformed troops or civilians, for that matter, accompanying Ukrainian forces in the front line. We do have folks working out of the embassy, so they're working at the Ministry of Defense level, and that's as far as our hands-on accountability goes. We do have some other means through reporting that the Ukrainians report to us, and I'll be happy to talk about that in a classified session, but there are some means and mechanisms of doing some accountability. It is not as rigorous as you might think, but I think the biggest way to measure the accountability is effectiveness on the Russian forces. These anti-tank munitions, this artillery, is having devastating effect on the Russians. As you know, publicly, the Russians have well over 200,000 casualties. Their offensive aspirations have come essentially to a halt. Their capabilities have been, their ground forces have been absolutely impaled on this Ukrainian bayonet, so to speak, and that is largely due to the resources that the United States and other countries have provided. So although we don't have by name DODIC sort of accountability, serial number accountability, you can see the accountability on the battlefield.
Yeah, my time's running out. I'd love to ask you about the AUMF. I'm sure you probably talked about the AUMF before I got here, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator Manchin. Senator Schmidt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.